Welcome to the Own It by Kamisha podcast, where growth begins with accountability. Today's episode is titled, it's about my desire to work for the Lord full time, um, no middleman, just me and God, and me just abiding by Him and what He wants for my life and just living in Him. Okay. So let me give y'all a little background of just my work history. My first job ever was my senior year in high school. And my dad did not want me to work. My mama was okay with it. She was cool with it. But my dad was just like, I ain't need to be working. I had my whole life to work. And he just wasn't with it. But I still got a job. And I mainly got the job because I knew I was going off to college. I knew I wouldn't have my parents. I'll be by myself. And I was a little sheltered growing up. So I'm like, I ain't gonna know what to do once I go out, once I go to this new state, these new people, this big city. Like, I need to be able to sustain on my own. So I got my job my senior year with that mindset. It was at McAllister's Deli. And I hated that job, y'all. I don't even think I lasted a year. When I would come home from school, I would work on the weekend, but that was about it. But the first job that I loved was probably my freshman year in college was Abercrombie and Fitch. And it wasn't the job, the actual job that I loved. It was the people, the environment, the atmosphere. We had so much fun. And not only that, the discounts, y'all. We got 30% off of any and everything that we wanted. And when a new collection came in, they gave us 50% off. So I had clothes at a discounted price, quality clothes at that. Eventually, I got fired. And I got fired because I kept telling them to stop scheduling me on weekends, but they kept putting me on the schedule. I had a second job that I was working when I was working with Abercrombie. So I'm just like, y'all got to quit scheduling me on the weekend. And when they would do it, I would still come in. But this one particular time, I did not show because I'm like, no, I told y'all to quit putting me on the schedule. So I ended up getting fired. But the crazy thing about that, y'all, I remember before I got fired, the very last weekend or the very last day or week that I worked there, it was Black Friday. So it was Black Friday, and everybody, all of the people that I love was working that same shift, and I was like, y'all, some feel off. And my exact words was, it feels like the end of something. And I could not explain what it was that I was sensing, but I just remember saying that. I was just like, it feels like the end of something. And y'all, that next week, I was fired. So I'm like, Lord, I was so sad. I was heartbroken, not because of the job, not because of the money. Keep in mind, it was retail and they weren't really paying nothing. That explains why I had a second job. But it was the people, it was my discount. And when I got fired, it was like my introduction into the real corporate world. It was like my first real job after Abercrombie and Fitch. It was with this collections company. And again, I hated that job. And let me tell you why I hated it. I hated it because of their ethics, the way that they harassed people, the way that they pressured people into paying a bill or paying a debt. It was just unethical for me. And around that time, that's when I first like really started my relationship with God or my walk with God. So I was super sensitive. It was so bad for me to where I would go to work, and after work I would have these migraines. I would cry and I would be sad because I did not want to be at that job, and it went against everything that I stood for, everything that I believed in. So fast forward later, I ended up finding another job. And as I'm moving through this corporate world, I find myself in the financial industry. Mind you, I was in school for fashion. I transferred out to business school. So I made my way to the financial industry. And it was good, y'all. I loved it because it was a challenge for me. For some reason, my brain My brain can't pick up on simple, easy stuff. But when you give me a challenge, oh baby, it's on. So the financial world was a challenge for me. And I love the idea of just helping people with their finances, helping people get out of certain financial binds. Like I enjoyed that. But if I'm being honest, that world is real crooked. It's real evil. And I began to notice the pattern within the corporate world. I began to notice their tactics, their ethics, and how they went about doing certain things. And I noticed, I'm like, all of this goes against the God that I serve. All of this goes against what I'm learning in the Bible. So I began to realize slowly that the corporate world automatically puts me one foot in the world and one foot in God, because the way God does things and the way corporate America does things, it's totally contrary. And I'm not saying this about all jobs, all because I haven't worked every single job. I don't know every single industry. But from the jobs that I have had in my life, they all represented some type of, it was always some type of undertone, some type of wickedness associated with it. And it was normal. It was how they became successful in their company. So I noticed this pattern within the corporate jobs that I work. And I began to say, you know what, Lord, ain't no way you want me to live for you and work a corporate job. Because living for you and working a corporate job, it automatically makes me a hypocrite. It automatically makes me waver. I have to scratch and pull to get to where I want to be versus working with you. And all I have to do is be with working for you. So I began to move up the corporate ladder, and I had, leadership roles, management role. My very last job was a management role. And when I got there, it was just like I realized the only way that I'll be able to move any further is if I scratch, if I fight, if I just be wicked. That was the only way with the job that I had, that was the only way, because it was so much competition. It was so much rah, 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 that I'm like, that's not who I am. That's not who God purposed me to be.